Bomb, they do some good claps.
Who?
Giant Bomb.
They never have to do clap.
They do.
Because they're in the same room.
Yeah, but they appreciate each other's company, so they give themselves a smattering of
I
applause.
want to congratulate you guys and your government for passing the biggest tax bill in a generation so quickly.
We're pretty proud of ourselves.
That is efficiency.
Big.
Yeah, it was like 2 hours.
We like our taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Big.
Everything's bigger.
Yep.
In America.
We like our
Except
taxes
presidential hands. Presidential hands are smaller.
Boy.
I don't know. I don't know.
Somebody's on the no-fly list.
All right. Hello and welcome to episode 578 of the Player One podcast for Tuesday, December 5th, 2017. I'm your host, Chris Johnston. With me, as always, from Canada, Mr. Greg Seward.
Yo.
How's it going?
It's going pretty good.
Is it snowing up there yet? Is it?
Nope.
Not yet?
Nope.
What is it?
That hoax called what the hell? What am I trying to say?
I don't know.
Watching marbles race each other through a trench of sand right now.
What?
I don't know. It's a Facebook thing.
That's some kind of Canadian euphemism?
I think so. It's global warming.
There you go.
That's the one.
Yeah.
That's
politically charged.
That's us.
Yeah, and joining me from the great state of Washington, Mr. Phil Theobald.
Yo, how's it going?
Pretty good. How's it going with you?
It's great. It's going great. You know, the Pacific Northwest, it's a little rainy. It's a little, little that time of the year, man. You know?
Yeah?
That's how it goes.
Got any snow yet?
Not yet. We had a little snow a couple weeks ago, but, it didn't stick around or anything.
Okay.
But, give it some time. Give it some time, man.
And joining me from the great state of California, yay, Mr. Ethan Einhorn.
Hey there. I can tell you now firsthand, Justice League does get better the second time you see it. Went and saw it a second time.
What?
And went with Greg Ford this time. Was good company. He enjoyed it as well. I'm sure he wouldn't be too embarrassed for me to reveal.
That's weird.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
but did you,
a good weekend.
Did you check out that 20-minute Frozen short at the front of Coco?
You know what? I don't think that was nearly as bad as people are saying it was.
It was
really
good.
It was pretty bad.
It was cute.
I mean, it would have been fine if they had smushed the end part into like an 8-minute short. Fine.
Well, I mean, that was clearly made for television, right?
It was. But the thing is, it was not even a good television Christmas special.
No.
I mean, I hold it up against classics like Peanuts Christmas special, sure.
But
it felt a bit like a little nervousness on a company that's gotten too used to sequels launching something new. They might have feared that it was going to be another Good Dinosaur situation where that thing tanked.
That to me is exactly what it was.
Yeah.
And I agree. If they're gonna put a short like that in front of a film, it should have been 10 minutes long, not 21 minutes long.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't as cringeworthy as I've been led to believe it was going to be.
Well,
all I know is my 5-year-old halfway through turned to my wife and said, "When do we get to watch the movie?"
Yeah.
Never a good sign.
I think I mentioned.
Well, they're not. They're taking it off the movie now, right? So
yeah.
Well, yeah, they're taking it off the movie. I think I mentioned the woman sitting in front of me, like, leaned over and said, "Are we in the right theater? This is Coco, right?" Because it just kept going on and on.
Really liked Coco.
Coco's great.
Was good.
Yeah, it was a nice movie.
Coco's so the
good.
theater that
it's a little bit teary in spots, but
yeah,
sure.
But you felt that way about Justice League as well. You're a softie.
I have not seen Justice League.
But
I was actually a little bit teary when they announced Justice League just because I knew it was going to suck.
You were a little bit teary when you found out that Ethan saw it twice.
No, I was a little bit not even surprised at all.
So the movie theater that we did go see Justice League in, though, had a poster for the 20-minute Frozen short, just for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously they thought that there was some marketing value there, but
well, I mean, you got to remember the marketing monster that was Frozen.
Yeah,
Sure.
yes.
I mean, it's not that weird that they would be advertising more Frozen content. I think the only thing that caught everyone off guard is that more Frozen content wasn't automatically the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Mm.
There's that, and they're making Frozen 2 anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
Of course.
Get excited for that. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Anyway, so not much news happening, really. What do you think about that? Mega Man, they're doing a 30th anniversary stream tomorrow, so we don't know what that is.
Could be
a new Mega Man game.
You know what I think it'll be?
What?
I think it'll be Capcom bowing deeply down to Inafune-san and apologizing.
Oh my goodness.
That's
Mega
what I
Man
think.
Legends
And
3,
then reskinning Mighty Number 9 is Mega Man 12 or
Legends 3 coming to Switch, right?
A deep, sustained bow for 7 minutes to Inafune-san.
Still more entertaining to watch than Olaf's Frozen Christmas or whatever.
I think maybe they'll finally release that Game Boy Color or that Game Boy compilation.
The GBA compilation.
Yeah.
Oh.
That'd be nice.
I think it will be the announcement that there's going to be a new wave of Mega Man Funko Pops, and that will be it to celebrate Mega Man's 30th anniversary.
It'll be because people loved that pixelated Mega Man that was in the blind boxes. They're just going to sell it regular.
Yep.
Now,
I may have eBayed one of those.
I feel like whatever it's going to be, it'll be really underwhelming.
Probably.
I'm not getting my hopes up.
Mega Man Legends HD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Mega Man's the next character in Injustice 2.
Speaking of hopes for end of year announcements, we still haven't heard anything about a Nintendo Direct that announces the Champions DLC. I really wonder if that's happening in the next 3 weeks or not.
Well, yeah. I mean, they said it would be out before the end of the year, right? It's not the end of the year yet.
It's true.
So we did get the Champions or the Guardian Amiibos. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, if it means they're going to delay it a little bit and it's going to be bigger or better than what they had planned originally, I'm totally fine with that. And I have enough to play right now. I don't really need that content yet.
Fair enough. Though now I know where I have gotten this habit of making the mistake of calling Champions Guardians, which you just did, CJ.
I just did it. Yeah.
I think I learned it from you because my daughter always corrects me on that. She's like, no, the Guardians are the big metallic things that kill you with one shot.
That's right.
You two have been feeding off each other on this show for about 8 months now. So.
I mean, how great is the Switch, right? It is great.
Go. Yeah.
This is so great. Well, I'm just waiting to hear CJ say that he can't wait to play Event Horizon Zero Dawn in his Serpico. So,
Nice.
Love it. Love it. Yeah. We did get some Nintendo news, though. I don't know if you guys saw.
Because, boy, we would have had to cancel the show without that.
That's right. December 11th is the day that the Mario cereal hits shelves.
That's right.
And it doubles as an Amiibo. That's right.
Interesting.
The box is an Amiibo.
The box is an Amiibo, and you can tap it for coins or hearts in Mario Odyssey.
Yes.
Wasn't there a Nintendo cereal jingle before? I'm trying to remember, or is that my childhood fantasy?
You mean the Nintendo cereal system?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah, that was the thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was.
I used to eat the Nintendo cereal system.
Well, some of it was Zelda, and then the other half was Mario, right?
Yeah.
Right.
They're the good folks at Ralston, I believe, manufactured
made
the
dog
Nintendo.
food.
Same people who make dog food made
That's
the
right.
Nintendo cereal system. Are you expecting one of us to sing the jingle, Ethan?
No, but if you
Okay.
want to, by
We all
all
know
means.
Phil could.
I don't remember it personally.
Nintendo, it's for our breakfast now. Nintendo, 2 cereals in 1. Wow!
All
That's
right.
pretty innovative.
My name's Ice Cream Jones. I'm coming to deliver my ice cream cones, crispy crunchy cereal for breakfast with the great taste of ice cream cones.
All right. There you go.
Hello, my name is Crispy. How do you do? Crispy Critters cereals entirely new.
Yeah, for the next
it's
hour.
You don't stop him, he's just going to keep going.
delicious.
I will say, so Kellogg's is making this stuff.
I do not know my representative in Congress, but I do know every goddamn cereal jingle from the 1980s.
Phil is like the poster child for everything that's wrong with the U.S. political system.
Welcome to America, ladies and gentlemen. Would you like to hear the theme song to the Gremlin cereal? I don't think there was a theme song to the Gremlin cereal, but there was
Gremlin cereal.
You can do Snap Crackle Pop, though, right? You can do Snap Crackle Pop.
And that was the one thing they could eat after midnight, right?
No, you fool. You're the problem.
Man, that's not canon at all.
No. Anyway, the cereal
Pox on Mogterman.
Made by Kellogg's.
Yeah.
They also made the Pokemon cereal back in the day. That stuff was tasty.
Oh my god,
that's right.
Tasty. So
sugar is tasty. That's true.
I'm gonna buy me some Super Mario cereal if I can fight my way through the
YouTube
scalpers.
The YouTube version of Player One podcast episode 578, where you get to watch Greg question every choice he's made up until this point in his life. How did I end up here? What
wasn't that like episode 4? That was episode 4.
Listening to.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's going to be delicious. We should have a live tasting on the show.
I was expecting. I wish we didn't know that it was the box that acted as Amiibo, because I totally was visualizing a video of Phil just dumping the entire box of cereal over his Switch, and then licking it. Yes.
That's not how you do that.
Well, I think it'd be great if it was just you ate the cereal, and then for the next day you were the Amiibo.
Oh god.
Ooh.
Where's your contact point?
Until you pass it, until you pass the little chip.
And then when you pass it, then what becomes the Amiibo?
Well, you could buy another box of cereal. Alternatively, if you don't have much money,
You dung.
Yeah. Continue.
You dung.
Continue.
You sculpt an Amiibo of your own.
Oh, I see.
Man.
Custom. Sell those on Etsy.
Yowza.
Yeah.
All right.
Etsy's facts. See if you can sell human waste.
Why do we always end up here?
I don't know.
I'm definitely buying a box myself. I'm definitely.
Y'all got real pool?
God's sake, you guys.
I am too. The Game Awards and PlayStation Experience are coming up this week.
Yeah.
We're gonna see a whole bunch of trailers and stuff, and I guess Jeff Keighley is teasing that this is gonna have the most world premieres.
Yeah. So when are they going to? The most world premieres and the fewest videos of people actually accepting the awards they've won.
Potential.
I wonder if they'll even announce any awards. I wonder if it just won't be a series of trailers.
I'm fine with that.
Who's the title sponsor? Do we know?
I don't know.
Okay, just curious.
Yeah. But yeah, all that stuff's coming up this week, so it should be a big news week this week, unlike last week, which was not really at all. But what I did want to kind of talk about, we're winding down the year. Yeah. Now we're getting towards the end. What do you want to see from the big players next year, at the beginning of next year? What do you want to see?
Lower prices.
What do they want? What do you want them to do, other than lower the prices in Canada?
Well, I'll start with Nintendo. I'd like to see them at the end of the year refresh the Switch so that it has a 1080p display, and I can get that and hand my current one down to my
more
son.
Expensive hardware.
Boy.
That's what I want. I'm just telling you what I want.
So what you're saying is you want them to introduce a new Switch so you can get a third Switch.
Yeah.
So I can get a third Switch, right? Yeah, one that has some internal storage, one that maybe can run higher texture games, so we can see the very best versions of games like Xbox One X does. I'd love that. I would love it, and that's what I want.
don't think that updating the system just a year after it was released would be a terrible PR move?
That'd be a pretty bad move, I think.
It wouldn't be great.
Well, how long did it take the DS Lite to come out? Was that 2 years or was it 1 year? Because I thought it was pretty close to the launch of the machine.
I don't know, but I can't imagine that it was just 1 year. We haven't even had a full year of Switch yet, and you're already asking for another piece of hardware.
Well, I'm just saying it because of all the things that make me love that machine. Its tech specs and power is not among that list. So
Well, I can't imagine why.
If you're going to say that, I mean, I would like a new piece of Switch hardware, but what I want is smaller bezels and a larger screen in the same form factor. I'm fine. They can keep the form factor they have. If you want to put more battery in that, fine. You can keep the storage, internal storage the same because I'll just buy an SD card for the rest of that.
The DS Lite came out 2 years after the DS, by the way.
There you go.
Okay.
The
All right.
DSi came out 2 years later.
There you go. Yeah, I think 2019 is when we'll see Switch revision.
And I'm going to go ahead and say that I don't remember. Was it the DSi where we actually got to the point that some things were spec'd out for that system rather than the DS? Because what you're asking for is a lot different than the DS Lite refresh.
That's right. DSi was when they had some features like DSiWare.
Yeah, that you actually needed DSi for. So that was a 4-year gap.
I'm asking for the new 3DS XL type of thing.
Oh, well, you said
I think
DS.
we got a ways.
Okay.
Oh no! I did say DS for the sake of example because I remembered that the DS Lite was a fast product follow. But yeah, I mean, I will have to see what happens. It probably will be a couple years.
What I would rather see Nintendo do is try to keep the software flow into 2018 as they did in 2017.
Yeah,
they really
I'm
had
really curious to see if they can maintain that.
They had a great cadence there. And I mean, we already know there's a Kirby game and a Yoshi game that were shown at E3, and those looked like they were pretty far along.
Metroid 4?
Metroid Prime 4. We'll see what happens with that. And continuing content for Splatoon and ARMS and Zelda and whatever else you got. If you got DLC for Mario Odyssey, I'm totally ready for that. So,
well, I think also you're going to see some big surprises from third parties. I think in addition to the expected like Assassin's Creed Rogues and stuff like that, you will see more companies announcing things built up for the Switch that'll be exciting because what do you know? There's a market there.
Yeah, what is it? Either like Amazon Italy or Germany or something leaked that Ubisoft is doing Assassin's Creed Rogue HD on at least PS4 and Xbox. And hell, if they do that for Switch, I'll totally buy it.
Yep, on board.
Yeah, I think Sony. I would love to see them do a new version of the PS4 Pro. That's a little quieter. I've heard a lot of people complain that thing sounds like a jet engine ready to take off on a lot of games. And a little less expensive, and I might even upgrade.
So on the Sony front, all I'm looking for, because I think that given the types of games they're making, given the hardware they have out, they're firing on all cylinders already. We know that they have great stuff like Last of Us and God of War and Spider-Man. What I want to see,
all those going to come out in 2018 though. I think
so. That'd
be a stellar year for them.
I think, and then you add like Death Stranding if they manage to get that one out. That would be great. But
that's like
what I would love
away.
to see, I'd love to see them announce PS5 if that's possible.
I think that happens in 2018.
You think they will? Really?
Yeah, it's been 5 years, and I don't know. I'm not saying that I think it'll come out at the end of the year, but I think they'll announce it here for a 2019 release.
What form do you think that'll take now that we've kind of gotten into using x86 hardware? And I mean, the PS5 could be compatible with PS4 games. I mean, do you think it'll just be another type of Pro?
I would love it if it was. Well, I think it'll be more than a Pro SKU, but I don't have enough information to know whether the Pro was a good or bad thing for them. I would love it if it is more iterative, but still a step forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it's backwards compatible with PS4, bring it on. I'll be very happy about that.
Yeah.
Yep. I could see them having packaging that says like PS4/PS5, right? Where there's a demarcation that makes clear that if you only have a PS4, you can continue to play these games, but you're going to have an experience that technically is so much better with the PS5 that it's worth saying that, it supports that natively, effectively.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that'd be great, but I always say that every time and no one ever does it. So
what do you want to see from Sony, Phil?
I would like to see a new Ratchet and Clank game.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Heck yeah.
Even though it's not technically from Sony.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
I would accept that for sure.
Yeah, I'm going
to do the sequel like they did the original remake, the remake thing.
Yeah.
That would be great. I'd like to add to that too, and I'd like to see a platforming, kid-centric new IP from Naughty Dog. I think that kind of thing would be interesting because they've done a lot of great realistic games, but as they've gotten further down that path, we know that they're still very good at making bright kind of primary color games for all families, and I'd love to see that.
Do we know that though? Because I agree with what you're saying because they've done that. I mean, that was their bread and butter years ago, but I mean, like when was the last when did the last Jack game come out?
At least 10 years ago.
It's been a long time, right? We're talking about a decade, and I would be curious as to how many people that are able to make those decisions are even still at Naughty Dog. Like, they do what they do, and they're really great at it. But it'd be an interesting exercise to see them sort of flex those muscles again, but I'm curious how many of those people are even still there.
Well, but what about like where they go after Uncharted, right? Because Lost Legacy's out, like they're working on Last of Us 2. Like, where do they tackle something realistic again, or do they do something in the fantasy realm or sci-fi?
I would love to see them try something sci-fi or fantasy.
Yeah, that'd be pretty awesome.
That would be fantastic.
So I'm gonna double down on my suggestion simply by saying that the time in which you really want to release something that's family friendly is when the machines are like sub $200, right? We're gonna get to that point. So then that becomes the machine that kids really do have access to, and it might be the way that Naughty Dog can continue to make the types of games they want without having to make this kind of massive games as a service thing that they just don't have experience with, but they can still reach a new audience.
Interesting.
Yeah, that makes sense.
How about Microsoft?
Anything.
Crackdown.
I want to see Sea of Thieves. I want to know what that game is really all about. Like, what
really?
I've watched every video that they have put on their YouTube channel, and I still really don't know what the main point of the game is. I mean, I see the gameplay. You're on a pirate ship. You do different things on the ship. Blah 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 blah. What is like the thing that's going to drive me to continue to play this game over the course of weeks or months?
See, I feel like the bigger problem on that system right now is what is the thing that Microsoft's going to do that's going to continue to drive me to play that system?
Well, PUBG comes out in like a week.
Yeah, PUBG is a big one.
Yeah, that's true. But
it'll be very interesting to watch how that is, how that whole thing goes.
Well, a little bit of newsworthy stuff there too is it's been announced that Xbox One X is going to be 60 frames a second for PUBG.
I thought they went back on that.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah.
But they definitely didn't make any kind of commitment for the original Xbox One.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. But yeah, in all honesty, from Microsoft, I mean, PUBG is going to be massive. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. Like, it's funny because on my Twitch channel for a while now, every now and then I dip back into like the original Xbox library, and man, just looking back, and I realize it's a completely different industry at this point, but you look at the breadth of games in the Microsoft just the Microsoft library back then compared to now, it's pretty amazing, really.
Oh, yeah.
They had so many different genres covered, and they've just gutted their first and second party development.
Crimson Skies, Midtown Madness.
They have to have some
Challenge. Lots of sports games, which I know nobody does besides EA at this point, but
sure.
They're incredibly smart people there, though, and there's some rhyme and reason that we don't see right now that must be happening. And I support that by saying, they've done a refresh of their hardware that everyone who has picked it up adores. They've done pickups like Minecraft and PUBG, which are incredibly smart because those are brands that are going to continue to accrue value.
Sure.
They when they are looking to get exclusive pickups, they get things like Rise of the Tomb Raider, which I think is better than anything even Naughty Dog has made, and I love Naughty Dog. Right? They have
didn't do too well for them, but yeah.
Stuff. No, but I mean, it's like
a good pickup for sure.
Exactly. And even on the indie side, it's like Cuphead is one of the most celebrated games of the year as well. So there has to be some strategy that we're going to see manifest when they're good and ready that will make this quiet window make sense. Remember,
they need. They need a year like what Nintendo's had, where
I was going to say the
cadence of games and the quality of games is such that you can't ignore the lineup, right? Because right now, they release. What was the last thing that they even released? They didn't publish Cuphead. Forza. Okay.
Yeah, Forza.
Yeah,
but like
which I believe didn't meet expectations. Did better than Gran Turismo Sport, but
yeah. And then they have like these games coming down the pipeline. They have Crackdown, PUBG. They have all this stuff like Sea of Thieves. They have to like get a good cadence going there. And I agree with Greg. Like bring back some of these favorites that you haven't seen or heard of for years and do a new version of. Like for years, there was this rumor that they were going to do something with Battletoads because Phil Spencer kept showing up on stage with
that's right,
logo T-shirt, and there's nothing. It's like, where's that? Like there are a lot of things that people love Microsoft and love Xbox for, and they really need to leverage that stuff.
And I don't even know that they need to. I mean, watching them refresh older IPs would be great. Speaking as a fan of those older IPs,
sure.
But I just like to see them get a little bit more experimental once in a while. I'm not saying make your whole library like that, but like let a studio sort of run wild with something very creative that can shore up your library. Just I don't know, like Sony lets do with their studios. Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I totally understand like the whole PUBG thing and the whole games of service thing. I get that. That's what you want to do. That's where you're going to make your money. That's how you keep your bottom line healthy. And I have no problem with that. But funnel some of that into something a little more creative, something interesting, something we're not expecting.
Well,
right?
And I think. Oh, go ahead, Greg.
No, that's fine.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think you're right in terms of seeing a kind of different philosophy where even the acquisition of Minecraft, that is a service game.
Oh, God, yeah. And it was brilliant.
It is.
Yeah.
But, you see that difference where Sony and Nintendo are more focused on these big single-player prestige games. And that's just not been Microsoft's philosophy. Sea of Thieves is clearly going to be a service game. And,
Sure.
maybe they are going to be the console of the three that really cracks how to best serve those types of customers.
It could be.
That could be their whole approach.
Could be.
And in the chat, username hacker alias, slave to the box is saying that pretty sure you're talking about Crackdown. Yeah, I mean Crackdown could be it, but I mean Crackdown has taken so long to get here.
Yeah,
you've just sort of gotten into that situation where I don't know. I don't see myself getting extremely excited about Crackdown at this point. I mean, there's a level of excitement there, but whatever the next trailer they show, it needs to be with it. Kind of like the way they did with Cuphead, where they kind of poke fun at themselves about how long it took Cuphead to get a release date, right? Like they need to kind of do that with the next time we hear about Crackdown and see Crackdown. It needs to be absolutely amazing to look at, and it needs to have it needs to have an imminent release date that doesn't get pushed back again.
Well, it's supposed to be spring.
Yeah, see,
we'll see how that goes. Alrighty.
I think one thing we won't see from Microsoft is a VR headset, which 2 years ago we would have thought would definitely come by at least 2018.
Although, isn't Microsoft one of the companies that's looking to make VR cheaper in general? Like, isn't there a headset coming from Microsoft at some point?
They have a range of PC mixed reality is what they're calling them headsets that will run a lot of what is effectively VR content. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I could see that happening once it's affordable. If it does happen, it won't be like Sony where it's like a $400 or $500 thing.
Yeah.
Well, in that, a lot of people bought PSVRs this Black Friday, and there were a lot of deals going around. I hope we see a nice push from Sony, and it appears that we are, because I don't know if you saw this last week. They sent a bunch of PS Plus people an invitation to try PSVR for free.
I heard about that.
Really?
So
Yeah.
that's a really interesting way to sell it. We'll see. We'll see how that.
I mean, it's funny because the only thing that doesn't exist in that situation is the push, because there's a ton of content.
There is
so much that most people who even own the things don't even know it's there.
Yeah,
but
I know. Yeah, that's a real problem.
Yeah, it's startling when you go to the VR section of the store, if you can find it. How much content there is there? It's really crazy.
I do want at some point to pick up Skyrim VR. Right now, of course, I'm playing it on Switch, and so I don't feel I need to play it simultaneously on 2 different platforms. But I listened to the DLC podcast that said it looks really bad graphically, but it's really immersive. So that's compelling.
Yeah, that's how all low-end VR goes, really, right?
Yeah. Well, I was excited.
You're coming from a game that looked like that to begin with.
Yeah, for sure. I was really excited about Doom VFR. I had every intention to purchase it. My only question was, am I going to get it on Vive or PSVR? But apparently it's crap.
Oh, really?
I heard that too.
That's too bad.
Well, anyway. Should we talk about the games we've been playing this week?
We should.
Sure.
We could do that.
All right. Hey, Phil.
Yeah, but now.
Why don't you tell us about some video games?
Well, most of my week has been again playing that game I've been playing for work. Which
mystery game.
Which I'm proud to say I've become the very best, like no one ever was. I finished that game. I'm very pleased with myself.
You're playing Sonic?
Talk about it. You can't talk about it. But,
yeah.
Why are you playing Sonic for work? I don't get it.
Yeah, Sonic Forces? That's weird.
I'm very confused about my responsibilities at work. That's my problem. So I've been playing that and have been enjoying that quite a bit. But I did. Ethan will appreciate this. I picked up a Switch game. Because actually, there you go.
Wow.
I actually picked up 2 Switch games. Ethan,
Player One Podcast, where you come for unbiased viewpoints.
I picked up
Cars 3,
VVV.
Okay.
Because it's
a pretty new game for the Switch.
Pretty new game for the Switch. I mean, it's what, 6 years old or so, something like that. 5, 6 years old.
6 years young.
They added a 2-player mode.
But it's a great game. I love VVV.
Like you'd look at a 6-year-old child and say, "You're old." No, you'd say, "You're young," and and you have the whole world ahead of you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I picked up. I haven't played this yet, but I did pick up Azure Striker Gunvolt Striker pack.
Oh, cool!
For the Switch.
Without a sale, even right? They didn't put that thing on sale.
Well, I picked up the physical version.
Nicer still.
It just came out physically. The 2-pack with the Azure Striker Gunvolt 1 and 2.
Is it 40?
I think so.
Okay.
I believe it's 40. Yeah.
Cool. I want it.
Yeah, I mean, the Gunvolt games are really good. Really fun, kind of Mega Man style platformers.
So like Mighty Number 9, but really good.
Yeah, well, and it's funny too because it's by Intercreates, who made Mighty Number 9. But this is more
Intercreates A-Team.
Yeah, it's
the Gunvolt game is really good.
The Gunvolt games are really good. It's more like the Intercreates who made Mega Man 9 and 10, which are really good games, and not the Intercreates that made Mighty Number 9.
So it's like Borderlands versus Aliens, Colonial Marines type of thing.
Oh,
wow.
That was a self-burn.
Considering the source there, that was good.
Yeah, my goodness.
That's the most clever thing Ethan said on the show.
Hey, I didn't. To be fair, I didn't say which one of the two was good. So
of course.
Yeah, we all know.
Of course, yeah. We all.
Even if we don't agree with you, we agree with the reference.
Oh man, but yeah. So I picked that up. I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but I also I mentioned last week that I picked up Injustice 2
Yeah, I keep toying with the idea of picking that up
on Black Friday sale. So I got that, and I started playing the story mode of it. And yeah, I haven't really played Injustice 1 or just Injustice because they didn't tack the numeral 1.
Because they didn't say 1. Yeah, that would have been weird.
Yeah. But I realized, boy, I really need to play the first game.
Really?
Well, because the story mode it picks up.
Wow.
Right after the first Injustice story mode.
Okay.
And a lot.
Good job not calling it a prequel, by the way.
Well, it's not a prequel.
I know, but I know
it's a predecessor.
I know. Yeah, I know.
I know what I'm a writer.
I know.
Dang
you
it.
know.
I know what words mean.
Yeah,
sometimes
you write for the new Sonic games. I get it.
I understand. Yeah. But yeah, it starts off and it's just like, Superman's evil and has
spoiler.
And I'm spoiling the first like 2 minutes of Injustice 2. It's like,
but all of Injustice 1.
But all of Injustice
predecessor.
1. So, or it's prequel, you could say,
AKA the prequel.
That's revealed pretty early in
I'm
Injustice
just
1.
teasing. I don't really give a shit.
It's like,
keep going.
You know, the Injustice starts up and it's just like, yes, Superman's evil and he killed Lois Lane, who was pregnant with Superman's baby. And I was just like, wait, I think I missed something. I think I have to go back and maybe play through the story mode of Injustice.
Or at least watch some YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Well,
if I may suggest, the comic book series is actually really good. That is based on Injustice. It's widely recognized as very good. Yeah, it's based on the game series, but it actually takes seriously and makes valid and interesting the preposterous notion of, Batman fighting Batman and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I actually do have the original Injustice. It was on some like PS Plus sale ages ago, and I picked it up and installed it and promptly forgot about it.
Proceeded to never play it.
Yeah. You guys know how that is.
Sure.
Yeah. So I
described that like the library.
I'm gonna sit down. I just dropped the difficulty down to very easy just so I can plow through the story mode. So I'm gonna play through that. So I started playing the original Injustice before I start playing Injustice.
Prequel.
Yeah, the prequel.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard that those games are really good.
Well, it's the what is it? NetherRealm. Yeah, the guys who did the Mortal Kombat games, and those new Mortal Kombat games are really good, and these are pretty darn nice as well. So
it blows my mind that other companies like Namco and Sega and Capcom have not followed the template that NetherRealm set up to give you this like really good single player campaign where you play as all the characters. It's so smart. It's so good.
Yes,
and
I would expect
all the
Capcom to do that. Yeah,
that's what really got me into the Mortal Kombat 9.
Yeah,
or I mean, it was just Mortal Kombat, but it was Mortal Kombat 9. That's what got me into that game, was the crazy story mode, and this one seems to have just as crazy a story mode, but with superhero characters
that have really crappy movies. So
but might be worth seeing twice.
Good. Yeah,
if you're Ethan,
could be.
If you're Ethan and you got more
money to burn,
I
feel like in another year's time, Ethan's just going to hold up $100 bill and set it on fire. In one
though one thing that Greg Ford said after we were walking out that was funny. My son, who is 7, was with us, and he was asking us who our favorite superheroes were in the movie, and
Marvel.
Well, so he said, mine's Batman, and Greg said, I like Superman, and I said, I thought Wonder Woman was awesome, and my son said, oh, Daddy, like really disappointed that I chose Wonder Woman.
Wow.
And Greg,
why is your son so sexist?
Well, Greg said,
look at his dad.
Greg said, Oliver, in 10 years, I'm going to ask you again if you like Wonder Woman or not. I think your answer might be different.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, at that age, it's very much, I'm a boy, so I need to like boy characters.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Did you bring your Switch to the theater?
I did. Yeah.
Oh, Ethan.
Yeah. Silly question. Don't be naive, CJ.
Okay.
This is Ethan you're talking to.
Is that it, Phil?
That's all I've been playing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Ethan, what do you got for us?
I want to start with something you've been playing as well, which is Uno.
Yeah, I bought this on because it was on sale.
I came very close to buying this.
And I have great memories of playing Uno on the Xbox 360.
The Dong edition?
You turn off the webcam images and then you're fine.
We both know you didn't turn off the webcam images.
Right, I left them up.
Uno DE. Yeah.
Uno DE. Uno DX.
That's right. But this one, of course, not made by the same people. And it doesn't have the same accoutrement minus the dongs that point that the Xbox 360 version had. So things like,
I got so used to that, by the way, that now like sitting down and playing Uno with my family feels really weird because I feel like
you want to stand up and just drop trow.
I should just get it out.
Oh well,
because it's like up.
Bear in mind, they did replace the dongs with rabbits. So,
well, I know
I think I like the Ola version better.
But the Xbox 360 version had the thing where it would auto kind of select the card that made sense for you to play, and this one doesn't do any of that.
Really.
And it's got a bunch of rules that I wasn't familiar with. But and I tried to play online and it wasn't working.
Well, that's the thing that kills me, that the networking is awful. I was trying to play with my daughter because when it works, it's super fun, especially the whole thing of having two people, play with both of their cards shown as a team against other people online.
Yes.
But you can't find matches, and when people do pop on, it hangs for a minute and they disappear. It's so frustrating.
And laugh all you want about awesome memories of playing Uno on Xbox 360. Everybody was playing that game.
That's right.
Yeah,
everyone playing that game.
It's true.
Even before the webcam patch.
So I don't know if you've tried this or not, CJ, but one thing that was really fun is I went out to lunch and they had Wi-Fi at the place I was at, and I wanted to play Uno online, so I did, and it beautifully supports just pure touch screen play, and it really feels good. So I was able to put it down.
They basically took the mobile version that Ubisoft also published on iOS and Android and just made it for the Switch.
But Pacross couldn't use touchscreen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lame.
Well, that actually brings me to the other Switch game I spent a lot of time on.
Don't say Mujo. Don't say Mujo.
No, not Mujo. I think Mujo means shit in Japanese, but I'm not.
And we have to explain what we mean by Mujo.
Strong word.
So this game came out on the eShop last week. It's a port of a mobile game from iOS and Android. It's portrait mode on phones, and it's portrait mode on the Switch with a huge blank area on the sides.
And you cannot flip your Switch to portrait mode for it.
That's
either.
right. You can't flip it, and it's $8 or $9. No, wait, it's $10, and it includes microtransactions. It's basically the exact same as the free-to-play version, but you pay $10 and get nothing for it, and it's still got in-app.
I need to write this down.
So
this is an important date.
This is an important date. A mobile free-to-play game with in-app purchases came out on Switch.
I am surprised that it got through submissions. That does surprise me.
Me too. And I really hope this is not the start of something.
Buckle up, boys.
I'm fine. Here's the thing. I'm fine with people bringing over mobile games to the Switch.
Me too.
That's fine, and that's happened already. And
some of them are great.
People have brought out premium versions of those games, and it's fine. But they make them feel like premium versions, and they change them so that it fits the screen correctly and all that. And Mujo did none of that, and it's still allowed to come out for $10. And the way that it is, and it's just it's honestly disappointing.
Well, and I want to point to the exact opposite, which is the guys that did Test Drive Unlimited, Project Eden, I think they're called. Is that right, Greg?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. They released a couple of years back a free-to-play racing game that was called Gear Club. And it had pretty good play mechanics, looked really nice for a mobile game, but it had all the microtransaction stuff that was designed to keep you playing and spending over a long period of time. They took the game, removed all the microtransactions, so any kind of purchase is instantaneous, and really buffed up the visuals, and re-released it as a full $50 title that I really am enjoying. And I thought maybe I was crazy, but I looked and Polygon had a really nice write-up on it. I mean, it is by no stretch of the imagination Forza or Gran Turismo, but for like a light, playable, with real cars racing game, that is really good in short sessions because it was designed that way to begin with. It really is, in my opinion, taking a mobile phone game and porting it the right way. And it is $50 if you buy it as a cartridge, which I did. $40, I believe, is the cost if you get it on the eShop. But it's worth it to me because you are getting to play the game the way somebody with just unlimited resources would play the mobile game, but much higher resolution and no friction of having to purchase anything at all. And it's it's like the optimal way to play the game, and it's very good that way.
It would need a demo for me to try it out.
Oh, sure.
I have not played. There's been one mobile racing game that I think I've played and actually enjoyed for more than like 10 minutes.
Well, that's the other thing that I wanted to bring up, because I also spent $10 after reading a Touch Arcade article on a game called Grid Autosport, which is a direct port to mobile of the PS4 and Xbox One game. Have you played Grid Autosport, Greg?
I gave up on Grid after Grid 2 because I thought Grid 2 was abysmal.
Okay. Well, this game, it does everything you're not supposed to do with mobile. The game is 6 gigs.
Jesus.
So imagine that.
There's another reason I'm never playing it. But yeah, keep going.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, it is a game that when you back out of it, when you have to do something else, you go back in and it has to load the whole thing up again. So it has all of these like serious inconveniences that make it not a mobile game, and it's $10 up front. But they never ask you for a penny after that, and it is by far the most beautiful game I've ever seen running on a phone. I have an iPhone 6S, and technically my phone doesn't support it. You're supposed to have a 7 or higher. And it still works well enough for me to really be excited and impressed by it. But it is the kind of thing that I'm shocked we don't have more of, the type of game that Apple could put front center and say, hey, if you're going to get a new iPhone 10 and you want a game that just shows off what your brand new $1,000 purchase can do, this is it. I mean, this is the Real Racing 3 that I think we all wanted.
Right.
That, strips all the microtransactions out and just gives you that pure, beautiful racing experience.
Except that charging $10 for a racing game on a mobile phone is like charging $400.
Might as well be $1,000.
Yeah,
but
I don't disagree.
I see what Ethan's saying. He's talking about it being a showpiece for the hardware.
Sure. Oh, yeah. I totally agree, but unfortunately, nobody's going to buy that on a phone. They're much more likely to buy that on the Switch.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. And probably for $50 instead of $10.
Yeah,
because I mean, this game, here's the funny thing, is it does look so good that I'm willing to say that the Grid Autosport visuals on my phone are even better than the Gear Club visuals I'm seeing on the Switch, which themselves are no slouch. So, I mean, it's really, really great. So if you do have a phone that's iPhone 7 or higher, and you're comfortable with devoting that much space, and you want something that really is a full console experience on the go, it's the best you can get. But yeah, I mean, it's tough because, CJ, I did want to talk a little bit about Game Dev Tycoon, which I also downloaded. And I got that after Eli on Touch Arcade was talking about the fact that no one buys premium games. I'm glad they're out there talking about it's true. I'm glad they're out there talking about it, supporting those types of games with great stories. It's like, on the one hand, it's really a bummer that they sold 1,500 copies or something in the first couple of days. Yeah.
I don't remember what it was, but yeah, they like made $1,500, or they had sold that many units, and they were comparing it to when they released Game Dev Story on Steam in 2012. when they sold like 30,000, when they had their day one was like $30,000. And it's like, you can't even really compare 2012 Steam to 2017 mobile. It's like, what are you even
Be interested to hear how it did on 2017 Steam.
Exactly. Yeah. How would that game do on 2017 Steam? I don't think you want to know.
The other thing, honestly, is like it's easy to point to that and say, "Oh, you know, a cute game that's well designed fails." But the reality is that the game doesn't have the charm of like the Kairosoft games.
I was just gonna say, I liked Game Dev Story, but I much preferred was it Kairosoft?
Kairosoft,
yeah.
Game Dev Story is Kairosoft's. Game Dev Tycoon's this.
Sorry, I liked Game Dev Tycoon, but I much prefer Game Dev Story.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
so Kairosoft makes great stuff, and then they have continued to make great stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a game that, for those that don't know what it is, it's one that allows you to build your own game publishing.
It's good. It's
yeah,
a good game.
And it's fun.
Yeah, it is.
And it's kind of fun to, through the course of history, see, oh, the NES just came out. They don't call it that, but something close enough. Or the Sega Master System. And you can decide what to support. You have to pay the licensing fees to get the dev kits, all of that.
Pro tip, don't support the Master System.
Yeah. So it's a neat concept, but and it's great that these games exist at all. So they are unicorns. It's like Grid Autosport especially shouldn't exist, and frankly, there's no way on earth it could exist were it not for the fact that Codemasters was able to take pre-existing assets that they built for PS4 and bring it over. That's the only way this is even possible. The Infinity Blade days are gone.
Oh God, yeah.
Well, and the story of Game Dev Tycoon is the port took a year and took them like $200K to do, and they did the blog post like, look at what our day one was. Isn't this terrible or whatever? And I mean, even a year ago, if you were like, I want to start a premium mobile version of Game Dev Tycoon,
you really had to question that choice.
Anyone that knows the mobile market could have said, well, you might not want to spend $200K on that.
It's too bad. It's really too bad that a year ago would have been a little too early to take a chance on the Switch.
That's true too.
Because I bet you they would have done much better releasing that thing on the Switch. It might have been difficult to change the input, because the input wouldn't translate as easily to a controller as it would from mouse and keyboard to a touchscreen.
Sure.
But I mean, if they're talking about a budget of like $200K, they would have been fine.
Yeah.
And as we see with stuff like Mujo and stuff like that, eventually, if we're not already there, you're going to see a very, very cluttered store for the Switch. But it is nice to see. And I was even surprised to hear that the number one item sold during Black Friday was the Nintendo Switch, which didn't get any price cut at all.
Yeah.
So that's pretty promising. But I did, again, as I said last week, jump into some Black Friday sales, picked up Wolfenstein II, and I'm kind of glad I picked it up a few weeks after it came out. But still early enough so I haven't had any spoilers, because I was able to listen to a couple of shows, including Waypoint and DLC, really stress that it's valuable to just play this thing on easy instead of even playing on normal, just the way it's tuned. Yeah, because the story is very, very good. The characters are really interesting. It's very dark, but just the pacing of play, you want to get to that next cutscene, and you don't want to have to go through a sequence 5 or 6 or 10 times. I feel like playing on easy mode, or it's like quite literally baby mode. You choose it, and BJ Blazkowicz has a pacifier in his mouth when you see the selection screen. But it allows you to still be vulnerable enough to not be just a pure bullet sponge, but let you get through the game and just have a really enjoyable experience. And something someone else said, and I don't remember who to give this credit to, but said that if you've been waiting forever for a Half-Life 3, which so many of us have, this game is that kind of thing. It's the full fat single player FPS if you want something like Half-Life 3, buy Wolfenstein 2. Show people that this is what you really want and that you'll spend money on it, especially when they make it available for $25. It's so worth it. I'm really glad I'm playing it. And I almost held off just because I wanted to wait for the Switch version. But this looks really nice on the PS4. And it wouldn't surprise me if I end up playing through this, enjoying it, and then when I have the time to die more frequently because I'm carrying something around, play it again on the Switch and be more comfortable with the dropped resolution. But I'm glad I'm playing it first on PS4. And that stuff at the beginning, which everyone's talking about, I couldn't get out of my head. I had it linger for days, and it will do that
to you. It's a very powerful opening.
Oh, yeah?
It is.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. It is the thin line between just really good, stark, dramatic writing and exploitation, but they fall just on the right side of it.
Right side of it. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay.
So check it out, and do not feel like you have to play it on normal and punish yourself. Just enjoy it on easy, and I can guarantee you that the vast majority of players will actually have a much better time with it.
Cool.
And yeah, so those are the games I've been playing.
Okay.
Cool.
Greg?
I was traveling for most of the week, so I really didn't play much.
All right.
Should have brought your Switch with you.
I did. I've been playing. I bought I Am Setsuna as sort of something that I wanted to finally dive into because it was on sale on Black Friday digitally, and I thought the Switch is the perfect console for me to play that on, just for all the reasons we've talked about a trillion times on this show. But then I ended up just searching for moons in Mario Odyssey.
I know.
So I spent hours doing that on the flight. And I mean, I only went to New York, so it wasn't a long flight anyway. So yeah,
well, Greg,
I haven't. Although I did try. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say before you move off from Setsuna, as like 5 out of 10 boring template JRPGs goes, it's like totally an 8. So
no, I've heard it's quite good, and I'm excited, but I haven't even put it up. Although I did try. There was what's it called? Some kind of RPG. There was a demo of it, and I just fired it up tonight.
Project Octopath Traveler?
No. It's like Monkey something, Monkey Pub, or I don't know. It's weird, and it's basically looks like an old school dungeon crawler, like something you'd see from like a D&D license back in the 80s, or 90s, and it's got a bizarre control scheme, but it is just literally like a 3D dungeon crawler. I think I played it for about 10 minutes and fell asleep. So, what the heck was it called? Sorry, I don't remember what it was called.
Don't even remember the name.
It had a monkey in the title. That's all I remember.
Had a monkey in the title. Okay.
I'll look it up. Sorry. Go ahead.
All right. Well, I've been playing Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Heroes of the Monkey Tavern, by the way, is what it's called.
Okay. Have you figured out how to use your health files?
In which?
I'm asking CJ. It sounded like you were not able to heal yourself in the game.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so I mean, it's an RPG, and I played maybe 2 hours of the first Xenoblade Chronicles, and I never played any of Xenoblade Chronicles X. So I had watched some Nintendo Direct videos and the E3 presentation, the Treehouse stuff that they did on Chronicles 2, and was interested enough in it, and picked it up. And yeah, it's an RPG. So where are my healing items at? Well, turns out there are no healing items. You have to instead do a move that elicits healing items from an enemy and run around and pick them up. So
the greatest leap forward in RPG gaming since the draw system in Final Fantasy VIII. Is that what we're talking about?
No. No. But so yeah, the combat in this game, it auto battles. Like all you have to do is stop moving and your character will start attacking, and you do like 3 hits in a row, and if you have your arts special attacks charged up and you time it correctly, like right after one of your normal hits, you'll do more damage and all this other stuff. The battle system is actually really complicated, and the UI in the game itself is kind of a mess. If you've seen any screenshots of this thing, it's like
you're really selling it.
You just don't know what's going on. And I will say it is a complicated battle system. They do a pretty decent job of introducing the elements of it to you slowly, especially if you have not played the previous 2 games in this series. But I did find there's a video that GameSpot did and a video that Game Explained did that go a long way in really telling you what you're looking at. And yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it, actually. So it's your typical sort of teenage boy gets stumbled into a world-ending plot and suddenly is in control of this really powerful Blade character, and you know the typical thing. I mean, it's
that old
the story of Mario's Cross,
that old story
done over and over again. But I really like the character designs, and I will say that. So there's a bit of controversy with the character designs. One of the main characters, Pyra, has a very large bosom.
Ample
tubular joy.
She's got enormous assets and
physics enabled or not?
No, not physics. This is not a Tecmo Koei game. No,
this is not like one of your Vita games.
Grabbing Vita games.
Yeah.
This is not Senran Kagura. Exactly. This is a game published by Nintendo. Oh, there you go, Senran Kagura. There you go. Yeah.
Yep.
But
God,
always within arm's reach.
Yeah.
is one hand he needs for that.
The thing about it is that, I mean, it's, you're a very typical sort of Blue Dragon-ish story, like a very shonen anime style.
I'll never give up.
Yeah, exactly. And the character design on Pyra is just distracting. It's just really distracting, especially because she uses her bosom as a hand rest all the time.
So
she's like on her hands, just
works.
like it's like a shelf where she's gonna rest her hands, and it's like no.
Are they mocking the convention, or do they just have absolutely zero women on the development team?
I'm guessing 0 women on the development team. No, I don't know. I mean, I think it's a very typical Japanese character design. Senran Kagura character design. But and it's
is it Dragon's Crown distracting?
It's like if they just made them a little less boobular, that'd be good.
Oh my god!
But even my daughter commented
on the Switch conversation from earlier.
Even my daughter commented on it. She's like, "Daddy, she's got huge boobs."
Turn away, sweetie.
Hashtag life goals.
Oh, no.
Anyway, yeah. But the game itself is really good. I appreciate the system for all of its complexities, and it has this really interesting thing where when you sleep at inns in the game in the various towns, you can increase your experience level, so you can gain, instead of grinding for it, you can just level up to where you should be in the story.
Yeah.
And that's pretty nice.
That's cool.
I like that. I like that feature a lot. But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it. I would suggest, if people are going to get into it, to watch the GameSpot and Game Explained videos on the Kombat, and I'll link to those in the show notes. But I'm having fun with it. I'm 20 hours in.
So if it had come out on any other platform, would you have bothered picking it up?
Ethan, you know the answer to this. The reason I put 20 hours into this game is that I could play it and still allow somebody else to use the television for watching something else. And I will say it looks terrible on just the handheld. And the handheld mode does not look good. It looks washed out, and the resolution is extremely low. I've never seen a Switch game look quite like this. But I will say the performance is still good, and the frame rate still holds up, and it's fine.
It didn't get rhymed, did it?
No.
Did it get doomed? Is that the thing?
It got doomed, I would say.
Okay.
Or Rocket League. Rocket League, where Rocket League is a really low resolution, but it doesn't really matter. And that's about where we are with this. If you're going to watch a lot of cutscenes, you're definitely going to notice when the camera is slow and there's a lot of exposition going on, you'll notice, hey, this doesn't look very good. But when you're in combat and everything's moving pretty fast and there's not a whole lot of slowdown, you'll appreciate what they did. And who knows, like in a patch, I'm sure they'll improve the performance even more. But I'm enjoying it. So it's a nice winter game now that I've finished Mario and I'm waiting for that Zelda DLC. So
well, and
constantly, and the music's great. It's got Yasunori Mitsuda did the music, and it's fantastic.
Constantly seeing that hit in resolution on the handheld version is a real bummer, especially when like your earlier experiences of the machine was Breath of the Wild or Mario Kart 8, where it looked just as good, if not more vibrant on that small screen.
Yeah, and it's a pretty stark contrast because it looks so washed out and weird in handheld mode, but it plays fine, so can't really complain too much. The download, it's like 16 gigs. Somebody in the chat asked.
Oh.
And I did buy the expansion pass.
And what do you get?
$90.
The expansion pass. No, the expansion pass is like an extra $30, and they give you a schedule that they're going to release content for the next year for this game.
Oh,
including it gives you 4 or 5 gifts when you download the game. So it gave me like 50,000 gold. So I had a real leg up at the beginning of the game, which was nice. But they give you a bunch of supplies too. I think it's probably worth it if you think you're really going to like the game. So I had watched enough videos where I was like, oh, I'll take a chance. So
nice.
Yeah.
It's getting somewhat mixed reviews. Some people love it and are saying it's one of the best Japanese RPGs ever made. Others are giving it like 7s.
It's got a pretty good Metacritic though, and anytime Metacritic comes up on internet forums, it's always amazing. Like people saying, I thought this would at least have a 90 Metacritic, and I think Ethan, you and I were talking about this. I don't remember if it was on air or off. Like, if you're going to have a 90 Metacritic, you have like almost universal praise. Like nobody in the 70s or 60s. So,
well, and the key thing is a lot of publishers will say this has to be an 80. And that's where you actually have to say, well, yeah, but you need a lot of 90s to get that aggregate 80.
You do.
But that sounds like it kind of falls in line with this series, right? I mean, this series has always had sort of divided.
That's true.
Reviews.
That's true. And this is another one of those games where a lot of the reviews that I've watched or read said that they spent like 60 hours on the game or more. So, and then Jason Schreier tweeted that he didn't like the game, and that got a lot of fanboys up in a huff.
Wow, that never happens.
I know, that never happens. Imagine that, like somebody doesn't like a game. But to me, like if you're a games journalist, you really play games differently, for one thing.
Absolutely.
You aren't going to give an RPG the time with a lot of complicated systems, which this does have, the time to really flesh itself out. And the reason why I think I'm liking this so much is right now I'm kind of done with my other games. It's sort of in a lull period for me, and it's kind of the perfect winter game for me.
And this is where I really wish you had gotten Skyrim, because what I'm curious about, and I'm only waiting to get this because I've been told by family not to pick it up until after Christmas. So fingers crossed that works out well for me. But I want to know if a 6-year-old game like Skyrim looks on par with, better, or worse than a 2017 game built for the machine.
On handheld mode just by itself? I wonder. But I'm not going to buy Skyrim because I have no interest in Western style RPGs.
Which is a shame, because you should really play The Witcher 3.
Well, I did. I did pick up The Witcher 3 for Xbox like a year or two ago, and it was on a deep discount digitally. And I need to play more of that.
It's a good game.
Yeah.
So do I.
And I am actually really excited to pick up next Wednesday, I think it is, Fallout 4, completely reworked for the Vive.
That sounds interesting. Yeah. I need to finish it on PS4, but I'm fairly close to the end, actually. But
yeah, I will report on that next week.
I tried to pick that back up, and I was like, I am completely lost on how to play this thing. Like, I don't know if you guys run into that where you're like, pick up a game you got 50 hours into before, and you're like, I don't know how to play this anymore.
Yeah.
Like, run into one enemy, you'll be like, I'm confused.
Yep. All the time.
Yep, it happens. Anyway, that's what I've been playing. So I think it's time for tweets.
Tweet, 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 tweet.
All right. Let's start off with this one from hacker alias P.O. Rowe, who says, if you were a 12-year-old today, what sort of games would you be playing? The Fortnite/PUBG open world games, indies, or Nintendo? For me, it would be open world. Nintendo is amazing, but the big AAA games offer so much more variety and brilliant graphics.
I love that question because it's impossible to know. And what I want to say is I'd be playing something like Breath of the Wild or Mario because that's what I love then and that's what I love now. But the honest answer is I'd be playing what my friends are playing. And so probably if I was a 12-year-old today, I'd be playing a lot of PUBG and Fortnite and Overwatch and that type of thing.
I would entirely agree with that. That's exactly my answer.
I'm a leader, not a follower. So I think
you'd lead people to PUBG? Yeah.
I think I would play what I want to play. I think I don't have to follow the crowds because I am an individual. Therefore,
you have to.
I would play
were you an NES guy or a Master System guy? Just remind me.
Who wasn't an NES guy?
Okay.
Well, I didn't grow
the first person in the United States to have an NES.
I didn't grow up in Brazil, so
yeah,
or Europe. So I guess
Australia.
NES guy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do I want to play Super Mario Brothers 3 or Alf?
Right, that's the comparison to use. I mean, you could say Phantasy Star 1 or.
That's like saying,
Alex
do I want to play Sonic the Hedgehog or BB's Kids?
It's Bebe's
I think it's Bebe's Kids.
Bebe's Kids.
Does anyone care?
Bebe cares.
That's right.
Was it Robin Harris? Was that the guy who did Bebe's Kids?
I don't know.
Do we care?
CJ, I know you're a big.
I don't know. I have no idea. I would be playing Overwatch and Fortnite and actually probably be playing the same things that I'm playing now, really. Maybe more Minecraft.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. More Minecraft.
Yeah, that's for me the big thing is that all the games that I kind of wish I could play now, but don't because I don't have the time, I would be playing. Like when I was that age, it was nothing to tear through an RPG in like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
So something else I have witnessed this past week, which has just been interesting to see. My daughter's closest friend at school is getting a Switch for Christmas, and she's really excited about it. Interestingly enough, my daughter hangs with a group of 2 other kids. One's a boy, one's a girl. It's the boy that's not particularly interested in any game systems. But also we had a kid come over that was playing with my son, and he was really excited about the possibility of getting Switch. So the visibility for kids seems to be totally anecdotally reasonably high right now for the machine.
Well, and once that cereal hits the shelves, I mean,
look out.
Yeah, if I was 12, I would probably be sitting around my house eating Mario cereal, playing Pokemon and Mario.
Yeah.
I can't imagine doing that these days.
Not at all.
Not at all. Just imagine the life of sitting around playing Mario, playing Minecraft, eating some,
playing every Pokemon game that hits the shelves.
Yeah,
I was like some kind of paradise.
What kind of life would that be? Imagine, just imagine.
Just imagine.
I'd probably be sitting around opening up some Transformers, building some Lego sets.
Yeah,
if I was 12.
Of course.
Yeah, living that dream.
The other big one is I'd be watching a lot more YouTube and Twitch streamers.
Yeah.
Well, you'd be 12, so you'd be watching probably like
Say it.
Pornhub or something. Let's face it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hacker alias Rich Grisham says, what's coming first, the next iteration of Switch, PS4, or Xbox One? Or will the next machine be the start of a new generation a la PS5 or Xbox Next?
I still think it's the next iteration of the PS4, or I should say the PS5.
Yeah, I think that's probably true.
You think the next PlayStation is going to be the first to hit?
Yes.
I think so, yeah.
Probably.
Okay. What's the launch game for that?
Knack 3.
My daughter would be all over that because she loves
Which I have to highlight. You know who Matt Piscatella is, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
yeah. He's saying that Knack 2 is his game of the year.
And he's not being sarcastic. And hey, all credit to him. I actually like it when someone knows that what they're saying is going to sound really stupid to everyone, but they believe it.
It's a really good game. It's a really good game. I swear. Anyway, I think we'll see another iteration of Switch before PS5.
I hope so.
Yeah. We'll see. I'll buy it, of course. Let's do this one from Hacker Alias Rambus Dunk, who says, do you guys think we'll see Nintendo's paid online service or Zelda DLC in 2017? Now, they did
like
say,
at this point.
They said the paid online service was not coming until 2018, a few months ago. So, they announced that delay.
No, I don't think we will.
Then I don't think we'll see it in 2017.
That's a Larrabee lock.
Yep.
Okay.
Zelda, I think, is still coming.
I think Zelda we'll see. Yeah.
I think they wanted to give some room for Xenoblade Chronicles, up to and including the point of making content available in Breath of the Wild that supports Xenoblade Chronicles. So that's been their priority. Anything that takes away from that takes away from a $60 sale. But once that's done, we will probably have some kind of surprise direct. And I would say maybe literally the last week of the year, we're going to see Zelda. In fact, it makes some sense for them to launch that right after Christmas, because that's when a lot of people will have their brand new machines, and it's a great opportunity to push people to buy that extra content.
Are you trying to upsell people on extra digital content?
That's clearly defined at $1 value. Yes.
Oh God, no! Why? Why would you do that?
That's all I'm saying.
No, I'm talking to CJ.
I think that would be a really interesting strategy for them to release it like the week between Christmas and New Year's, right?
Yeah.
That would be really kind of interesting. We'll see. Anyway, I hope the paid online service includes cloud saving or cloud backup of some kind, and it comes in early 2018 because the Switch needs that.
It sure does.
Really, really badly. All right, let's do this one from Hacker Alias Space Kappa, who says, are there any games that you associate with the holiday season and like to bust out as part of your Christmas celebrations?
Totally.
Christmas nights.
Actually, for me, Thanksgiving is not right if I don't have an Assassin's Creed game to play. I was bummed last year when there wasn't one because I just associate Assassin's Creed with my Thanksgiving break.
Yeah, for me, I kind of associate Thanksgiving with playing Zelda games because when Ocarina of Time came out, I played the hell out of that and finished it Thanksgiving weekend, and I replay Zelda games every so often around the Thanksgiving period. And this year I didn't do that, but I was waiting for Xenoblade Chronicles 2 during that time. So that's sort of my Thanksgiving game pushed into December.
The F1 series has become that game for me now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The DuckTales for NES is just because I got that game for Christmas, and I remember sitting down on Christmas morning and playing straight through it and finishing that game before we went to my grandma's house in the afternoon for Christmas dinner. But Yeah, I have that particular game is very tied to Christmas for me.
I'm surprised you didn't say Anticipation. I'm a little disappointed, honestly.
That was his
That's a birthday. That's a birthday game.
Oh, okay.
The man,
moron.
somebody is not up on their Player One lore. For me, that type of game, I mean, I don't think about it all the time, but whenever I think of a Christmas game, I have a similar story where it was the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game on the Game Boy.
Yeah.
I went to my mom's place that morning, and that was sort of my big gift. And I had my Game Boy with me, and I sat down on her couch and played it. I think it was like an hour. I was done. Because that game was short, and it was easy. And, yeah. But I still love it. It's pretty cool. I thought, at the time, I thought it was a cool game. It's really, you play it now, and it's kind of crap. But yeah.
I want to hear the Christmas story from the kid who got Taboo the Sixth Sense for Christmas.
Oh, God. That's a
Someone
sad
did.
story,
Someone
and they're not playing video games anymore. All right, let's do this one from Hacker Alias Last Place 09, who says, I may have gotten that crazy PSVR deal Wario64 posted the other day, the Skyrim bundle with camera and controllers for $250. Can you recommend any must-play PSVR games? Is there anything else I should know about it?
Thumper.
Thumper is a great one.
Thumper is pretty great.
Rez.
Rez is good.
Rez,
yep,
yeah.
both cheap and able to download digitally. Farpoint, I would say you definitely should try, and would be really nice then to have the aim controller.
Job Simulator.
No, I'm gonna challenge that one.
PSVR.
That's the thing.
I only played the
It's
demo, and the
platform.
demo was crap.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh
It's-
God, it was terrible.
It's a game that is great in room
Yes.
scale on HTC Vive, and
Yes.
terrible on PSVR because it loses track of what you're doing way too easily.
That was
I only played it on Vive.
That was the
I really
one-
liked it on Vive.
When we first got PSVR, that was the game my son desperately wanted to play, and thank God there was a demo of it on the demo disc. He played the demo for 2 minutes, and he was so frustrated. And then I tried it, and it's like, yeah, you're right. This is god awful. Resident Evil 7.
That I was going to say, that is the cherry on top. The
And-
best game in VR, period, right now.
And you know what? Play Batman. Batman's really good. People don't talk about it very much, but Batman is short. Like, find it cheap, but play it.
I've heard good things about Super Hot.
Super Hot,
played
of
it.
course. Yeah. I played it on Vive. I don't know how it is on PSVR, but it should translate well. Unfortunately, Arizona Sunshine apparently is bad on PSVR.
I heard that, yeah.
Yeah. There is a good catalog of games.
And demos, too.
Yeah,
on the store. And if that SKU came with a demo disc, I'm not sure. But yeah, there's stuff out there.
Yep, good stuff.
And there's actually a new demo disc now, and I'm curious. I'm going to check and see, because I want to say that you can actually download the new demo disc digitally, but I'm not 100% on that. And if you can, I've really got to do that, because I know that's got a few things on it that aren't even out yet. So, sorry, the other one that I really liked was Until Dawn: Rush of Blood.
And that was free on PS Plus last month.
Yeah, and that is a lot of fun. You need Move controllers. You can play it with the regular controller. It's not nearly as much fun, because then you're locked into both of your guns aiming in the same direction, and honestly, it doesn't work very well. Man, if you got 2 Move controllers, that game is a blast.
I'll also say that with PSVR, the killer peripheral to the peripheral is a swivel office chair. So if you have any way to use a swivel chair, then you don't have to stand, and you get the full motion. And even if you have the issue where the image starts to move a little bit, which is infuriating if you're fixed, you literally won't notice it if you're in a swivel chair, because you just start to do it yourself.
Yeah,
there you go. Alrighty, let's wrap up with this one by Hacker Alias Maximum Clark, who says, what would you love to see turned into a Lego game? For example, Lego Pee-wee's Playhouse, Lego NBC Must See TV, Lego The Walking Dead,
Lego The Exorcist.
What?
What?
I don't even know what we're talking about.
I think it would be great. I would love to see.
How about
Why
Lego?
do you think it would be great? I'm challenging your shtick here.
It's not shtick.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Okay.
hey, if they can do something in the Dimensions world with Goonies and with Beetlejuice and all that,
Lego Goonies would be great.
Well, they did that for Dimensions.
No, but I mean
that's my
game.
That's my answer. Is I would like to see some of the Dimension
Exorcist
stuff expanded into full
Yeah.
games. Like I would
That'd be
really
good.
like to see
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters
would be great.
Ghostbusters that actually did all three movies, because that's the other thing too, is with the Lego games, like limiting it into a single movie is kind of rough,
right.
because then they really have to stretch to cover all the scenes and things like that. But if you do it like over a trilogy or something, that seems like the sweet spot for a Lego game.
Yeah, like expanded Lego Doctor Who would be outstanding.
Yeah,
Certainly have.
Oh man, you have
decades
so much
worth of
content to pull
material
from. Yeah,
to pull from.
What would you think of a full Lego Sonic?
Oh,
I did not try the Lego Dimensions Sonic, but I heard it was good.
It's better than Sonic Forces.
Well, in all seriousness, like if you want to take him in a different direction that's familiar but fresh, that would make sense. It was fun to play it that way.
It is.
Lego G.I. Joe and Lego Transformers Last Place 09 just said in the chat, and he is absolutely right. Both of those would be great.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Hasbro has their own brand of building bricks, so you're not going to see
Mega Bloks Transformers?
No, Creo.
I don't know. Oh, is it Creo? Okay.
Creo, yeah.
Maybe they can make that though.
Well,
Creo Transformers game. I'm sure they'll get right on that.
Maybe they could. Anything's possible.
Yes, never say never.
Dare to dream. Dare to dream.
You know what they need? Lego Fast and Furious.
Lego Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
You're weird, man.
All right.
Hey, they did Big Bang Theory.
Lego American Pie. Let's just do it.
Is that it? That's the show?
Lego
That's the
Porkies.
end?
Lego Porky.
Lego Porkies.
Because that they'd have the shower set. That's what it would be.
Lego Police Academy.
Oh,
that's a winner. That's a winner.
That is.
Can you imagine
that
Citizens
is.
on Patrol in Lego?
I'd pick up the Blue Oyster Club set and put that together. That's a really sensitive portrayal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Biting political commentary.
Yeah. Yeah. Those 80s movies, man.
If they redid in a cute, funny, whimsical way the podium scene, that would be great too.
Yeah.
Sure.
What happened in the podium scene? Describe it for the listeners who haven't seen Police Academy.
Lego Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah. Remember that? Remember that scene where the nerds pretend to be another dude and rape that woman?
Yep.
Yikes.
Oh, hilarity. Oh man. Oh, the 80s.
It was a simpler, more sexist, rapey time.
Yeah.
Lego Sharknado. I feel like we're done.
Lego Taboo the Sixth Sense says
Lego Taboo the Sixth Sense
says last place 09 on our chat.
That's good. That's good.
Bringing it full circle.
Alrighty, and that is our show for this week. Thank you very much for listening. If you would like to comment on something you heard, or perhaps pose a question for us to answer on the show, you can direct that to @P1 Podcast on the Twitter, or you can go to our internet website at player1podcast.com. There you'll find our contact information. You'll find blog entries about Sega CD stuff from Mr. Greg Stewart.
So close to posting one of those.
There you go. You'll find Generation 16 episodes as they come online.
Yes, and I actually would like to take a minute to thank the fine folks over at Retronauts for including me in their YouTube roundup last week for the latest episode of Generation 16, which was Battle Squadron. So go check it out, please.
Cool deal. You'll find show notes, all the links and stuff that we talked about in this particular episode. You'll find at player1podcast.com/578. You'll have all the pertinent links. And if you would like to discuss this episode with us and our other listeners, you can do that on our website as well. We have a message board. There you go.
Apparently that's your cue, Phil.
Oh, is that me? That's it?
Shifted things around a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you'd like to subscribe to the Player One Podcast, you can do so by visiting player1podcast.com or by adding us in Apple Podcasts.
There you go.
You did it.
And while you're at Apple Podcasts, you can
Review us.
also
give us a 5-star review.
I guess so.
Yeah.
If you like this garbage.
Why not?
Why
Or
not?
you can go.
What have we ever done to you?
You can go to the App Store, the Apple App Store, and get a Player One Podcast iPhone application. Gives you one-touch communication with us via the emails, the Twitters, the what have you. You also have all of our episodes ready to stream right to your listening device. And hey, Android telephone users, the Player One Podcast iPhone application is available for your listening device as well for that same $1.99. Did I even say the $1.99 part?
No, you didn't. I will say also cheap at this one.
It's cheap. It's cheap both ways.
Yeah.
Just like Phil.
Well, cheap one way, it's expensive the other way.
Emotionally, or
We can work out the details after the show, Greg. What else was also cheap? Where do I go from here? I'm all messed up
I know, right?
because of this Apple
You hate it
podcast
when
thing.
one of the other people on stage just throws you completely.
Yeah.
You can like us on Facebook.
You can like us on
watch
Facebook. We're on
live.
All that other crap.
We're archives of our show. Watch us live on the youtubes.com/P1 podcast. If you like what you've heard, and how could you, especially after this outro, you can head over to patreon.com/P1 podcast. Throw a few shekels our way. It keeps all of us swimming in sugary cereal and cardboard amiibos.
I don't need sugar cereal.
Baby.
Or
I
Amiibos.
do.
We do.
Oh, man. And if you have a couple bucks left over, you can head over to generation-16.com. Throw a few bones Greg Stewart's way to help support his outstanding web series about North America's favorite second banana, the Sega Genesis.
Thanks, Phil.
Yeah.
No, thank you. Hey, and if you like Player One Podcast so much that you want to embarrass yourself out in public, we have t-shirts now.
We do.
You can go to teespring.com/P1 podcast and get a
Spring for a tea.
dope-tacular, fresh and funky Player One Podcast t-shirt to wear to your
strut around in.
to your holiday family gatherings.
Yes.
Wear like Bubsy. Just the
Yes.
shirt.
Please send in photos of you on Christmas morning wearing your Player One Podcast t-shirts.
Yes.
Yeah.
The more
If you like me,
confused
you may
family
have to wear it like a
members.
scarf, but that's cool.
Is that it?
That's it.
Is that all my spiel?
Yeah.
CJ,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Phil.
you,
You know, I'm
CJ.
gonna be out in California for PlayStation Experience.
That'd be great if I lived in California.
Well,
Dun,
too
dun,
bad you don't.
I don't live there anymore. It's been like 5 months.
I'm saying the listeners still, they may be there for that thing, and I'll be walking around there.
Ooh.
And
Check it
hopefully I'll be able to see you and get the CJ experience along with the PlayStation experience.
Ooh.
Are you going to be
both
there?
ways
Are you
as
going to be
well.
there, Ethan?
Maybe. We'll see.
Okay.
Maybe now.
Ew.
Yeah. Greg,
Yo.
thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you. Oh, that's sweet. Ethan,
Yes, sir.
thank you for joining us.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Yeah, that's uncharacteristically nice of you.
A pleasure as always.
Yeah. Next week.
Let's do it.
All right.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
along, you goofs.